In John chapter 21, we read this account of the disciples in a time period immediately following Jesus' resurrection from the dead. And particularly Peter is discouraged as he's with the other disciples, and he says, I'm going to get up and I'm just going to go back fishing. And so some of the other disciples go along with him, and they go out into the boat to go fish throughout the night. And this picture of Peter leading the disciples to fish is kind of this picture of our lives, of when we get into a place where we become so discouraged maybe in our walk with life or our present circumstances that we actually become tempted to go back to the old way we lived before. That's the way Peter lived before. He was a fisherman. That's what he did. He relied on his own strength to provide for his own needs and his family. And it's this image of this place that we get where it becomes so hard we almost attempt to abandon our walk with Christ. And funny enough, the disciples go and they fish all night long in the boat, and they come up completely empty. No fish were caught at all that night. And Jesus comes early that next morning, and he's standing on the shore, and he calls out to the disciples, and he asks them if they've caught any fish, which is funny because obviously Jesus knows, no, they haven't caught any fish. And he tells the disciples to go and cast their net on the other side of the boat, on the right side. And so the disciples go and they do that, and they pull in this huge, large catch of fish, so large that the nets actually begin to tear. And it's amazing. It's at this point they realize that it's the Lord. That it's the Lord on the bank of the shore. And Peter, as soon as he realizes this, he jumps into the water and he swims to shore. And the other disciples bring the boat and this net full of 153 large fish, is what the scriptures say, to shore. And as they arrive to the shore, they see Jesus sitting by a campfire preparing fish over the fire. And Jesus tells them, grab a few of the fish that you just caught and come down and eat breakfast with me. There's times in our life where we can face a situation that we get so overwhelmed with how we're going to make it, how we're going to make ends meet, financially, especially really in this context. We struggle how we're going to be able to pay for our student debt. How are we going to be able, where's our next meal going to come from? And we can get so concerned with these little individual problems, really. I mean, they seem like big problems to us, and we can almost think that, this situation isn't something that God really is concerned about or something that God is involved in. But Jesus, in multiple places throughout the scriptures, God affirms how he cares about the little things in our life and even financial issues. He encourages disciples often not to worry about what they're going to eat, what they're going to be aware. The Father, he knows that we need those things, and he's going to provide those things to us if we seek first the kingdom of God. And so I'd encourage you today that despite, whatever present circumstance that you have going on, despite whatever situation you have in, remember that God not only is faithful to provide a way for you to have salvation, to provide for you so that you can have, spend eternity in heaven with him. That Jesus did that by dying on the cross for our sins. He took the penalty of our crimes upon himself so that we could be forgiven, that we could be washed white as snow and made right with him. God not only does that, but he's also concerned with your present circumstances. And we can call out to him in our physical need, our physical ailments. And we may not be the richest people in the world or get wealthy and have everything, that we'd ever want. But we do know that if we seek first the kingdom of God, all the other things will be added to us. And that we wouldn't be left begging for bread or, left out, but that God would provide and meet our physical needs as well. And so we can trust God with those areas of our life as well.